The neutral year's Captain Maya Chen stood at the observation deck of Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station, watching the stars flicker with distant explosions. Each flash of light represented another battle in the galactic war that had been raging for 3 years. The Thakari Empire and the Confederation of Free Worlds were tearing each other apart, and Earth had chosen to watch from the sidelines. "Another fleet engagement in the Kepler sector," reported Lieutenant Torres, his voice echoing in the quiet control room. "Looks like the Thakari are pushing deeper into Confederation space." Maya nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the glow of the tactical display. At 35, she was the youngest person ever to head Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Division. Her colleagues often joked that she could read space battles like others read books. But tonight, there was no humor in her expression. The war had started when the Thakari Empire, a collective consciousness of insectoid beings, began expanding beyond their home sectors. They claimed they were bringing order to the galaxy, but the Confederation painted them as conquerors who stripped worlds of resources and enslaved entire populations. Earth's government had voted to remain neutral, declaring that humanity had no stake in an alien conflict. "Ma'am, incoming transmission from the Galactic Council," Torres announced. Maya straightened. The Galactic Council rarely contacted Earth directly. Most alien species viewed humanity as a young, primitive race that had barely crawled out of their own solar system. It had been only 50 years since humans had developed faster than light travel, and Earth's small colony on Luna was considered laughably modest compared to the vast interstellar empires. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the 6-armed form of Counselor Vexhai, a member of the Zelrani species. His crystalline skin caught the light as he spoke in his translator-modified voice. "Representative Chen, the Council has received Earth's latest neutrality declaration. While we respect your position, we must inform you that the war has entered a new phase. The Thakari are different from what we initially believed." Maya leaned forward. "Different how? Intelligence suggests they don't simply conquer worlds. They consume them. The life force of entire populations is somehow absorbed to fuel their expansion. We've lost contact with 17 populated systems in the past month." A chill ran down Maya's spine. "What are you asking of us?" "Nothing," Vexhai said, his tone grim. "Your species lacks the technological advancement to meaningfully contribute to the war effort. We merely wanted to warn you that neutrality may not be an option much longer. The Thakari have been scanning neutral territories. They seem interested in species they haven't encountered before." The transmission ended, leaving Maya staring at the empty hologram projector. Earth had always prided itself on being different from the warlike aliens that seemed to dominate the galaxy. Humanity had unified after the climate wars of 2341, choosing cooperation over conflict. Their technology focused on exploration, terraforming, and sustainable development rather than weapons of war. But as Maya watched another distant explosion light up the darkness, she wondered if their peaceful nature might be their greatest weakness. Over the following months, Earth's monitoring stations tracked the war's progression with growing unease. The Thakari seemed unstoppable, their dark ships sweeping through system after system. Refugee vessels began appearing at the edges of human space, carrying survivors from worlds that had been processed by the Empire. Maya personally interviewed many of these refugees, and their stories painted a horrifying picture. The Thakari didn't just invade planets, they drained them of all life, leaving behind barren rocks floating in space. Entire civilizations vanished. Overnight, their populations somehow absorbed into the Thakari collective consciousness. "It's not natural," whispered Dr. Carla Orion, a scientist from the fallen world of Nexus Prime. Her blue skin was pale with trauma, and her 4 eyes darted nervously around the interview room. "They connect to living beings through some kind of neural interface. We could feel our people disappearing, their thoughts joining the collective until there was nothing left of who they were." The refugee camps on Earth's outer colonies grew larger each week. The United Earth government provided aid, but many citizens began questioning whether neutrality was still possible. Protests erupted in major cities, with some groups demanding military intervention, while others insisted that Earth should close its borders entirely. Maya found herself caught in the middle of these debates. Her position required her to remain objective, but every refugee story made her more convinced that the Thackeray would eventually turn their attention to humanity. That conviction became reality on a cold Tuesday morning in March 2389. Maya was reviewing intelligence reports when her communications array exploded with activity. Every sensor in human space was detecting the same thing. A massive fleet of unknown vessels had just dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. "Ma'am, we're picking up over 200 ships," Torres reported, his voice tight with tension. "Configuration matches Thakari Empire vessels. They're huge." Maya's blood ran cold as she watched the tactical display populate with red dots. The Thakari ships were indeed massive, some stretching over 10 kilometers in length. They moved with an eerie coordination that spoke of their hive-mind nature, forming perfect geometric patterns as they advanced toward Earth's outer defenses. "Open a channel," Maya ordered. The response came immediately. The main screen filled with an image that would haunt humanity's nightmares for years to come. The Thakari speaker was a grotesque fusion of insect and machine, its multiple eyes glowing with an unnatural light. When it spoke, its voice was a chorus of thousands of individual minds, speaking in perfect unison. "We are the Thakari. We have come to offer the species called humanity a choice. Join our collective willingly, and your unique perspectives will be preserved within our consciousness. Resist, and your world will be processed like the others. You have been observed. Your neural patterns show interesting variations. We would prefer to assimilate you intact." Maya felt her hands trembling as she responded. "We are a neutral species. We have no part in your war with the Confederation. Neutrality is irrelevant. All life serves the collective or is consumed by it. Your government has 72 hours to decide. Choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving Maya staring at a blank screen. Around her, the monitoring station erupted in chaos as technicians tried to track the Thakari fleet's movements. But Maya barely heard the noise. Her mind was racing, trying to process what she had just witnessed. Earth had spent 3 years watching the galaxy burn, convinced that their neutrality would protect them. But the Thakari weren't interested in politics or treaties. They saw humanity as just another resource to be harvested, another species to be absorbed into their collective consciousness. As Maya watched the red dots on her tactical display slowly advance toward Earth, she realized that humanity's peaceful nature might not be a weakness after all. The Thakari had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never faced a species quite like humans. They had never encountered people who could adapt, improvise, and fight with the desperate creativity that came from having everything to lose. The war had finally come to Earth's doorstep, and for the first time in 3 years, Maya Chen smiled. Asterisk. When Earth fights back, the attack came without warning. Maya was in her quarters, trying to catch a few hours of sleep before the Thakari ultimatum expired. When the alarms began screaming, she rolled out of bed and grabbed her uniform, her trained reflexes taking over as she raced toward the command center. "Report," she shouted over the chaos. "The Thakari forces have bypassed our outer defenses," Torres called out, his fingers flying over his control panel. "They're hitting Lunar Colony directly. No warning, no declaration. They just ... started firing." Maya's heart stopped. Lunar Colony was humanity's first major off-world settlement, home to nearly 1 million people. Her younger brother David worked there as a terraforming engineer, along with thousands of other families who had chosen to make the moon their home. The main screen showed Lunar's surface erupting in pillars of fire. The Thakari ships hung in space like dark angels of death, their weapons carving through the colony's defensive shields as if they were paper. But what Maya saw next made her blood run cold. The Thakari weren't just destroying the colony. They were hovering over populated areas, emitting some kind of energy field that seemed to be pulling something from the surface. Through the chaos, Maya could see streams of light flowing from Luna toward the alien ships. "They're harvesting," she whispered. "They're taking the life force of everyone down there." Her communicator crackled to life. David's voice, distorted by static and terror, filled the command center. "Maya, can you hear me? The aliens, they're in the city. People are just ... disappearing. Not dying, disappearing. Like they're being absorbed into thin air. I can feel something pulling at my mind, trying to..." "Maya, if you can hear this, don't let them take Earth. Don't let them take everyone like they're taking us." The transmission cut to static. Maya stared at the screen, watching the light streams continue to flow from Luna toward the Thakari ships. Her brother, her friends, 1 million innocent people were being consumed by these monsters, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. But as she watched the feeds from Luna, Maya noticed something strange. The Thakari were having trouble with certain areas of the colony. Their energy harvesting seemed to be disrupted in places where people were fighting back, where groups of humans were working together to resist the alien influence. "Get me the United Earth government," Maya ordered, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her, "and activate the emergency protocols, all of them." Within hours, Earth's government had declared a state of war. The neutrality that had defined humanity for 3 years was abandoned as reports of Luna's fate spread across the planet. Every nation, every corporation, every individual citizen united behind a single goal, making the Thakari pay for what they had done. Maya found herself promoted to admiral and placed in charge of the newly formed Terran Defense Force. It was a collection of scientists, engineers, miners, and anyone else who could be taught to fight. They had no military experience, no advanced weapons, and no idea how to battle a hive mind that had conquered dozens of worlds. But they had something the Thakari had never encountered: human creativity and the desperate fury of people who had nothing left to lose. The first breakthrough came from Dr. Sarah Kim, a neuroscientist who had been studying the refugee reports. She discovered that human neural patterns were somehow different from other species, more chaotic and unpredictable. When humans experience strong emotions, especially anger or grief, their brain activity created interference patterns that disrupted Thakari technology. "It's like static on a radio," Dr. Kim explained to Maya and her staff. "Their hive mind operates on specific neural frequencies. Human emotional responses create noise that breaks their connections." Maya saw the implications immediately. If we can amplify that effect, we could turn our emotions into weapons, Dr. Kim finished. But it would require people to stay angry, to keep fighting even when hope seems lost. Maya looked around the room at her makeshift command staff. Engineers, teachers, miners, and clerks who had volunteered to fight for their world. Every one of them had lost someone on Luna. Every one of them carried the same burning rage that filled Maya's chest. "I don't think that will be a problem," she said. The first real test came when the Thakari fleet moved to attack Mars colony. Maya's forces intercepted them near Titan Station, humanity's largest fuel depot. The battle should have been a massacre. The Thakari had superior numbers, advanced technology, and centuries of military experience. Instead, it became humanity's first victory. The human ships were modified civilian vessels, armed with mining lasers and makeshift weapons. They should have been destroyed in minutes. But as the battle raged, something extraordinary happened. The human crews, fueled by grief and anger, began to affect the Thakari ships in ways that defied explanation. Thakari targeting systems malfunctioned. Their coordination broke down. Individual alien ships began operating independently. Their connection to the hive mind, severed by the chaotic neural energy emanating from the human vessels. Maya watched from the bridge of the converted cargo ship. Terra's fury as a massive Thakari cruiser simply stopped firing. Its crew, cut off from the collective consciousness, seemed unable to function as individuals. "All ships, target the disabled vessel," Maya ordered. "Show them what happens when they threaten human worlds." The converted mining lasers tore through the Thakari ship's hull, and for the first time since the war began, humanity had drawn alien blood. Word of the victory spread across Earth within hours. Volunteer rates for the Terran Defense Force skyrocketed. Engineers worked round the clock to convert civilian ships into weapons of war. Most importantly, scientists began studying captured Thakari technology, learning to turn the aliens' own weapons against them. Maya discovered that humans had an extraordinary ability to adapt and modify alien technology, where other species followed rigid technological paths. Humans improvised, experimented, and found solutions that no other race had considered. They turned Thakari mining beams into ship-killing weapons. They converted alien communication arrays into jamming devices that could disrupt the hive mind across entire solar systems. Most importantly, they learned to weaponize their own emotions, focusing their anger and determination into neural attacks. That could paralyze entire Thakari fleets, but the aliens were learning too. The Thakari collective consciousness began to adapt, developing countermeasures against human tactics. The war escalated into a deadly game of innovation and adaptation, with each side constantly trying to stay one step ahead of the other. The final confrontation came when the Thakari assembled their entire remaining fleet for a direct assault on Earth. Over 1,000 ships dropped out of hyperspace, their dark holes blotting out the stars as they advanced toward humanity's homeworld. Maya stood on the bridge of the Terra's Fury, now upgraded with the best human and captured alien technology. Around her, the combined forces of Earth waited for her orders. It was every ship humanity could muster, from massive converted cargo haulers to small fighter craft piloted by teenagers who had volunteered to defend their world. "This is Admiral Chen to all human forces," Maya broadcast across the fleet. "They came to our home. They murdered our families. They thought we were weak because we chose peace. Today, we show them what happens when you threaten the human spirit." The battle raged for 6 hours. Human ships, outgunned and outnumbered, threw themselves at the Thackeray fleet with suicidal determination. The aliens' superior technology was neutralized by human creativity and the sheer emotional intensity of people fighting for their survival. Maya watched as a converted mining vessel rammed itself into a Thackeray command ship, its crews dying, thoughts disrupting the alien hive mind for precious seconds. She saw fighter pilots use their own neural patterns as weapons, broadcasting their grief and rage directly into alien ships to paralyze their crews. In the end, it wasn't superior technology or military strategy that won the day. It was the uniquely human ability to find hope in despair, to create solutions from impossible situations, and to fight with the fury of people who refused to surrender their freedom. As the last Thackeray ship exploded in Earth's orbit, Maya felt a strange mixture of triumph and sorrow. Humanity had won, but at a terrible cost. Lunar colony was gone, along with everyone who had called it home. The war had changed humanity forever, forcing them to abandon their peaceful nature and become something harder, more dangerous. But as Maya looked out at the stars, she realized that perhaps this transformation was necessary. The galaxy was a dangerous place, full of species that would consume or conquer anyone they perceived as weak. Humanity had learned to fight not because they loved war, but because they loved peace enough to defend it. The neutral years were over. Earth had taken its place as a major galactic power, not through conquest or expansion, but through the simple act of refusing to surrender when faced with extinction. And in the depths of space, other species were beginning to whisper a new phrase that would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. Never underestimate the humans. They may choose peace, but when you threaten their families, they will show you what war truly means.